And welcome back to Whale with Pandas Books. I'm Whale, and today I'm going to do my February wrap-up. Now, February, unfortunately, was not the best reading month for me. I guess it's not super unfortunate because it was my birthday month, and I started two projects that are completely unrelated to books. And one of the projects is actually finished. It's I built a bed. Well, a bed frame. The other project is I'm teaching myself how to sew. But I did read 4 books, and I've got my lovely little jar here. But let's just get started. The 10th book I've read this year, and the first one that I read in February, City of Fallen Angels. Book number 4 in the Mortal Instruments series. I've said previously, but I had started the Mortal Instruments series like maybe 2014. And I read up through the 3rd book, but I never continued because I went to South Africa. I must say it's not one of my favorites of the series. It seems to me like it could have possibly been split up into 2 and like the first half of it been stuck in at the end of City of Ashes and the second half of it stuck in at the beginning of City of Lost Souls. It just doesn't seem to really go places or do much. I mean, obviously the end is pretty jam-packed, but it seems like a whole lot of the middle bit is just not necessary. Yeah, it's not one of my favorites of her books, but I enjoyed it still. It's nice to go back into that world. The second book that I read in February, the 11th book of the year, is Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I was super excited to read these books. I've heard so many good things about them, and I really wanted to read them. I must say that I think I'm a little disappointed with this first book. I just feel like there was all of this build-up going on, and it just didn't, like all of the action took place at the very end of it, and then it was just like, boom, done, over with. Now we have to move on and do other things, which I won't say because they're kind of spoilery. I enjoyed the book, and I'm going to read the rest of the series because I want to know what happens, but it just didn't, I don't know. It seemed like there was a whole lot of stuff that didn't need to be in the book, or, yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm offending people, but that's just my opinion. The 3rd book that I read in February, and the 12th book of the year, The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. Yes, I was so excited to continue with this series. I loved the first book, and I love this second book. I think that a lot of the time, I personally have issues with the second book in series. For instance, in the Divergent series, Insurgent was definitely my least favorite book. In the Hunger Games series, Catching Fire was definitely my least favorite book. In the Twilight series, New Moon was definitely my least favorite book. But in a lot of YA fiction series, fantasy sorts of series, I am not the biggest fan of the second book. I feel like they don't need to exist. There's just, like, my big thing is it seems like authors put so much effort into making their characters so strong and powerful in the first book that then they realize they have to make them seem human still so that people can relate to them. And that's what the second book is about, is making them have flaws and making them weak and things. And they just get super angsty, and I'm not a fan. Which I know that some people don't agree with me, and I perfectly okay with that. You are allowed to have your opinion, and I am allowed to have mine. But this did not follow that trend. I was glad to see. Yeah, this was just a good book. A good book. And the last book that I read in February, and the 13th book of the year, yeah, I guess I'm not that big a fan of this one either, but I mean, it was better. I will say it's better than City of Fallen Angels. You know, this world is such a great world with the shadow hunters and the demons and the angels and all of these things that I love going into this world. And the characters are so, I mean, they have a lot of just humanity to them. There's like even the warlocks and the fae and all of these things that aren't actually human, there's still something relatable to them, except for maybe the fae, but there's just, you just feel attached and you want to get in there and hang out with them and just be with them. And Cassandra Clare does a really good job of just making it seem like when you're reading, you're with them. So I'm super excited for Lady Midnight to come out on the 8th, and hopefully I will have finished the Mortal Instruments series. I've already read the Infernal Devices series. I just got off Skype with Panda reading another chapter of the Bane Chronicles out loud to her. We're about halfway done with that book. So I will not have that done in time because I'm reading it to her, but it's alright. I don't think I need to have it done in time, although I have heard that I'm supposed to have read read the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I have not read any. Well, I read one story that that Panda made me read, but I haven't read any of the rest of it. But that's alright. Yes, so that is my February wrap-up. Again, it was not a great reading month for me. I know that 4 books may seem like a lot to some people, and it may not seem like very many to other people. For me, just because of purely the way that my schedule works with work and the amount of time that I have to dedicate to reading, so I have a lot of time that I can read, and I'm actually a fairly quick reader when I sit down, and I have a lot of time that I can dedicate to reading, and I actually read really quickly when I do have time to sit down and read. Plus, my job involves a lot of driving, so I can listen to books on CD, and I just realized this. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out, but I just realized that, so I have started listening to some books on tape, and I've already listened to like 3. So yes, that is my February wrap-up, and hopefully in the next couple of days there will be a book haul video coming out, and maybe a sort of tag video, a fun video that's not necessarily just about things that I've read, but like my bookshelves. Although my bookshelves are sort of ugly, and I need to get a new one because the shelf that I'm currently using, it's painted pink, and it's actually, my mom works for a shoe company, and it's actually a shoe display shelf. But when the company got rid of the shelf, my mom just took it and my dad painted it pink, and I've had it in my room since I was about 6 years old, so it's time for a new one. Yeah, that needs to happen. Anyway, thank you for watching my wrap-up, and hopefully I'll have some more books to talk about in March. I've already got like 3 of them, and I hope you have fun on your reading adventures. Bye. Oh, hair. Oh, hair. I mean, it's a gorgeous cover too. I mean, this cover, admittedly, is gorgeous too. They're just pretty covers. Books just have pretty covers, and you need to stroke them, even though this is not actually that soft, but it just has a cool feel. And it's got a gorgeous cover, and yes. The second book that I read in February, oh dear. Oh no. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Oh no. Max is yelling at me now. Oh good.